Good.
தொட்டனை தோறும் மணற்கேணி மாந்தர்க்கு கட்டணை தோறும் அறிவு. Warm good morning to one and all present here. On behalf of Vinayaga Missions Research Foundation, deemed to be University, Arbor David Institute of Technology, and the Internal Quality Assurance Cell, we wholeheartedly welcome you all for this quality webinar series, the fourth webinar on quality improvement in higher education, hosted by Arbor David Institute of Technology and organized by IQAC cell of our university. It's pleasure in hosting this program. So on behalf of the IQAC, we welcome you all for this wonderful webinar. To have a good start, let me invite our beloved principal, Dr. G. Selvakumar, Arbor David Institute of Technology, to deliver the warm words with his welcome address.
Thank you, Mr. Sandil. Good morning, everybody. I welcome you all to the fourth webinar of IQAC Quality Initiatives webinar series of VMRF. AVET takes the privilege of organizing the same under the topic Quality Improvement in Higher Education. Today we have with us Dr. Janarthanan, Head, Department of Curriculum Development, Planning and Management, NIEEE at Chennai. Personally, I'm associating with him for more than 7 years and requested him to interact with the faculty members in all my previous institutions. He is young in age, but rich in experience and expertise. He is an expert in NBA and NAAC accreditation and ranking systems, including NIRF. He is a resource person in AICTE 8-module course, AICTE National Educational Alliance for Technology NEET initiative, and SWIME courses. He is from civil engineering domain and a good teacher and researcher. On behalf of IQAC of VMRF, AVET, and my own behalf, I welcome you, sir, for today's webinar. I welcome my friend and director IQAC, Dr. Jan Shekhar, to this program, who is the man behind this show. I welcome all the directors, deputy registrars, head of the institutions, HODs, and faculty members of various constituent colleges of VMRF to this program. Dear colleagues, there is nothing like a higher education system without quality. Thousands of years before, our ancestors adopted an education system based on their experience and practice and produced students who were real experts in their respective domains. In the last few hundred years, our education system was ruined because of various reasons. Now, Government of India is taking various steps to revamp the system. National Education Policy 2020 is a major initiative which is going to bring sweeping reforms in our education system. Friends, quality is everyone's responsibility. Quality is not an act, it is a habit. Let us impart quality education to our students with all the 3 essential components such as attitude, skill, and knowledge to make them more competent in this competitive world. With this note, let me welcome you all once again to this program and thank the IQAC of VMRF for providing AVET with this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your warm welcome. As rightly said by our principal, the man behind the entire show of this quality webinar series is our director, Dr. P. Gnanashekhar, sir. It's my privilege to invite him for delivering the keynote address. Dr. P. Gnanashekhar, Director, IQAC, Vinayaga Missions Research Foundation, presents the keynote address.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Dr. Selvakumar. At the outset, I would like to thank the resource person of today's webinar, Dr. Janarthanan, for joining us today and enlightening us on quality improvement in higher education. Thanks for coming, sir. We do hope we'll have a wonderful time sharing your knowledge. See, when we thought of conducting a series of webinars, we wanted to have topics only related to quality. So we didn't want generic topics, and after the national education policy has come out, there has been a lot of talk about quality in higher education. Everyone who speaks about the national education policy stresses on the point that quality in higher education has been a question rather throughout the country, be it the state level or the national level. Quality has been a big question in higher education scenario. So it's right time we academicians put forward our thoughts so that we can also participate in the national agenda of fixing quality in higher education sector. So higher education sector is a huge sector next to industries. In India, the investment in higher education is next to industries, even more than the health sector. So if we look at the higher education scenario in the country, only it is a scenario where it is survival of the fittest. So how to be the fittest? So to be fit, if you take a human being, to be fit, we need to be healthy. Similarly, an educational institution has to be healthy in respect of academics, healthy in respect of finance, healthy in respect of human resource, and healthy in respect of all resources which should be used for education. So it's right time all of us join together in uplifting the higher education sector so that the future generation which is going to lead the country will be properly equipped. And the say is that students coming out nowadays are not well equipped or employable. So it is also the prerogative of higher education institutions to make our students employable also. For that, what could we do? See, there is a small story which there was a poor man. He was not able to lead the family at all. He was trying it difficult to make the ends meet. So he used to pray to God to help him, to come out of all this crisis. And the only option was luck. So every man in desperate situations, we only look at luck. So we don't look at hard work. So he also was dependent on luck, and he was praying to God, I should win the lottery, crores of rupees in lottery, so that I can become rich and take care of the family. So this he was repeatedly praying, and he used to go to the temple, pray before the God. The priest who was looking at him for quite some time was really taken aback. Then he went to the God and was telling him, why don't you help him in winning the lottery? He has been requesting you a lot. All of a sudden, God appeared before the priest, said, Array, ask him to first buy the lottery ticket. Then how could I make him win? So this is where we are now. We have been speaking, but we don't do it. So it is right time, as I said before, we as academicians start planning, start executing quality in higher education. So with this few words, I wish this webinar all the best, and I do hope all the participants will take home good thoughts on quality in higher education. Thank you, Manolo.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your keynote address, sir. It's my privilege and honor to introduce the brief profile of our speaker, who himself is a great orator, both technically and generally. Dr. Janardhan Gangatulasi is Associate Professor of Civil and Environmental Engineering and also the Head of Department of Curriculum Development, Planning and Coordination at National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research, Chennai. He has got over 18 years of research, teaching and consulting experience within the broad fields of civil, environmental engineering, and particularly the engineering education. His research expertise includes geo-environmental engineering, sustainable construction materials and techniques, environmental remediation, technology-enabled teaching learning, assessment and evaluation, development of MOOCs, accreditation, academic quality framework, and academic auditing, learning spaces, blended approach, active and experiential learning, solid and hazardous waste management and landfill engineering, life cycle assessment and sustainable construction materials. His research and training program is funded by the ITEC, DST, World Bank, Ministry of Education, PWD, and several prominent state government and industries. His research includes laboratory studies, field experiments, and computer modeling, ultimately leading to the fundamental advances and practical solutions to the real-world problems. He has published around 45 research articles in international and national journals and the conference. He has been granted patent by the Government of India towards manufacturing artificial aggregate from waste. Dr. Janardhan has coordinated more than 24 international training programs and trained about 400 international delegates from 68 different countries across the globe, including Afghanistan, Algeria, Angola, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Belarus, Botswana, Burundi. It goes on to the bigger list. He has coordinated more than 200 training programs and trained more than 15,000 participants. He has developed and offered 6 MOOCs with a registration more than 30,000. He is serving as a reviewer for various journal and international conference. Dr. Janardhan sir has received fellowship and awards, UNESCO invitation to the Asia Pacific Regional Seminar on MOOCs for Higher Education, Institution of Engineers India Young Engineer Award, American Society of Civil Engineering Illinois Section Geotechnical Award, Swiss Federal Institute of Technology Fellowship, University of Illinois Doctoral Fellowship. He is a member in several professional societies, including American Society of Engineering Education, American Society of Civil Engineers, International Water Association, Indian Society of Technical Education, and Institution of Engineers. His doctoral research is from University of Illinois, USA, and bachelor's and master's engineering degree from College of Engineering, Guindy. He serves as a member in the National Committee on Creation of Virtual University and Pedagogy and Scheduling of Ministry of Education, Government of India. He extensively traveled within and abroad for technical lectures, USA, Germany, Belarus, China, Hong Kong, Thailand, Malaysia, and goes on again. So such a vast experienced person who is very apt to speak about quality improvement in higher education. So once again, we welcome you for this wonderful session, sir. Session is yours, sir, please.
Good morning and thank you to the coordinators, Selva Kumar sir and IQAC coordinator and director of IQAC sir for bestowing trust on me to deliver a lecture on quality improvement in higher education. What it is unique, why you need a quality, because Selva Kumar sir also mentioned the quality is not an act, it's not an, it should be an habit. And our directors, IQAC sir, also emphasized with one of the wonderful analogy and anecdote story, where first he has to buy a lottery ticket. Yes, of course, you can believe on the luck, but if the luck need to work, something has to work. No, that is also the thing. Without that, how the luck also will favor. So the quality, why we need to think about the quality in higher education, especially in the education sector. But if you see the first chapter of the NEP on higher education, they discuss categorically on the quality improvement program. The quality in terms of accreditation, in terms of, because I can tell my product is the best product, but it need to be compared with my counterpart, because always my products are best product, my features are best. That is a human being, because human being always have a habit of self-adulation or self-admiration, that will be there. But how, when compared to the common benchmarking, how it need to be done? What are the aspects which we have to look into the quality? Because there is an international organization on quality assurance in higher education, which started in the year 1991. And as a part of UNESCO, this organization works extremely well in terms of creating a benchmark in the global platform. Because its counterpart organization only has given me a fellowship for the through MOOCs, how you can improve the quality. That was the main focus in the year 2019. Let me share the screen, sir. Let me share the screen. Let me share the PPT. Okay. So what it is all about, it is a quality improvement in higher education. The road towards wonderful glory, because when you want to go in a deep forest, you will enjoy it. But the road where it goes, we should know, because without starting, if we keep going, I may not be ending in the right place. But optimum, in a smarter manner, how we can improve our quality. Because generally these days, the students are well informed. Well informed, and sometimes they are wrongly also informed. because of the advertisement. I'll tell you this is a story, not a story, this is a real instant, but I'm not using the university name. I had a chance to go to Jaipur in the year 2018 or 19 for some academic auditing. Government has asked me to go. Myself and my colleague, we both went to that one institute. 3 days we have to stay and we have to do the academic auditing aspect, academic auditing of the system. And I was just randomly asking, and one fellow, very, very cool, because he was in the, we were staying in a hotel, really comes and picks up, and he was a faculty. And when I was interacting with the students, he told, this is the only institute in the Jaipur which provides 4 times the food, sir. That is the reason I joined in this institute. Really, he told. I was laughing to the extreme. Because you remember what all the ways the institute attracts the people in terms of providing quality food, in terms of, because we were all thinking, what fascinated you to come to this institute? Because randomly, because wherever I go to the institute, I take the photograph, I just chit chat with the students, we chit chat with the group D staffs to see how the pulse of the system is going to be there. But he told they are providing 4 times a meal, sir. That made me very much. I told, this is the reason you're telling truth or you're making fun with me? No, sir, you will enjoy. But the food was really good. I enjoyed the typical Rajasthani food for the 3 days, and it was extremely well. It was extremely well. And each food he explained to me why we use this thing in this region, why we use this thing in there. It was a good lesson to me. So sometimes we have to improve the quality from the perspective of our clientele system. But I'm not telling you have to provide 4 times a meal, but let us see the quality definition in the 5 major aspects in any educational institution. As usual, in this lecture, the content expressed are purely my technical perspective. It does not represent the organization to which I am affiliated. Okay, with this, first we'll dwell upon the topic, quality improvement in higher education. First, when we want to understand the real meaning, I always say segmentation helps us a lot. If you want to understand any content, any subjects, if you want to improve upon it, divide the problem into smaller piece, segment it, and each segment you attack slowly so that you can make a bigger issue. That is it. Because Vice President is coming on 14th to our institute. So we have made a big issue and we have segmented it. So what sort of virtual tour, how the VR, because it's basically for VR and AR in higher education, that aspect we are starting. So how the segmentation plays an important role. Let me segment the topic itself. What Professor Selvakumar sir has given, quality improvement in higher education. What we mean by quality? The quality, my perspective is different, your perspective is different, because it is a qualitative term. Because if you ask the food and coffee, just now I may tell the coffee is wonderful. Some might be tell the coffee is okay. Because the way in which they serve, the aroma of the coffee, the color of the coffee, the content of the sugar, how much decoction it is there, all it aspects. It is not a standard word because the quality depends upon the individual perspective, not only the individual perspective, how we have been exposed to that perspective. Because someone would have exposed much better than coffee, this coffee, they will tell this coffee is okay coffee. But I am exposed only to this coffee, so I might tell this is excellent coffee. So your level of exposure will define the quality. But level of exposure doesn't mean that I should not deem in myself by telling I am of a low quality. There should be some benchmarking. So first, let us define what quality is. Second, okay, let the quality is that. Why we need to improve, whether it's improvement is needed. Obviously, the Vinayaka Mission Group is doing extremely work. What way you have to improve? Because improvement is not only from ourselves, self-improvement. It is also I have to compare myself with the common competitors. I'm telling you here, the competitors plays an important role. We use the terminology co-opetition. In one of the slides, I might have used co-opetition because with the competitors, I have to cooperate. How best I have to learn from them. For that, I need to improve upon it. That too in higher education, because the government, it's the GDP depends upon the knowledge society. Knowledge society comes based on the enrollment in the higher education or tertiary education. So the GDP is directly proportional to knowledge society. Knowledge society directly depends upon the higher education. But you might question all the higher educated graduates, are they not being properly utilized? Because our way of relating the content, the text subject, it is basically more on content based, not on the context based. That is, so we are going to define what exactly the quality with the case study of improvement with the in the higher education sector. So let me focus on this thing. So when we improve the quality, we stand apart. You remember, you might have seen among the best institutes, some institutes are unique and in their own way. They may be unique. The reason is the quality provides you the scope to stand apart. But sometimes one of the class, I was just advising the students who are not performing well in the examination. And I was keep on telling for first time, second time, third time. And it has really happened in my PG class. One graduate student who was from Oman, he was in Oman, he came for PG year. And he was telling Dr. Chana, why you are always often advising the weak students? Let them be there. I said, how come we'll accept? No, only when the weak students are there, the good students will be visualized. It would be acknowledged. So weak students should be there in the society, he was telling. I was wondering, Adam, to make him better, there need to be some, because in cinemas you might have seen, to show the heroine as a best, to the side of the heroine, they always keep a dull with the board, because to show the heroine as a unique, no, that is the way the movie artist. So he was saying, let it be some weak students, then only our presence will be visualized. But that is not the condition. But I am telling you, if everyone comes to the greater height, the society becomes good. You remember, that is a very unique nature. And always we prefer a quality product, because even when anything is there, we prefer even a small item, we go one to a small hotel also be there, the quality and taste is there. The purpose of what we. So quality always makes you to stand apart from the crowd, which you might be knowing. But how to improve that stand apart? Then I should know what are the benchmark, which our Selva Kumar sir has told in the beginning. Quality is not an act, it's an habit, Aristotle. You have to remember the word habit, it's very unique word, because it is not something which is you have to remember, because habit, even if you remove H, a bit remains. Even if you remove a bit remains. Even if you remove B, it remains. If you remove T, you yourself will become habit. It is very difficult to cultivate the habit. Once you cultivated a habit, it is very, very difficult to erase the habit. Brushing your teeth is an habit. If you see the kids, it is very difficult to make them to learn the habit of brushing the teeth. So we have to show wonderful Mickey Mouse brush with a sweet paste. You cannot use our own Himalaya or Biko because it is doesn't taste to them. They will spit on your face. So for the kids, you have to buy everything colorful, so that to cultivate a habit, it takes a time. Once you cultivate it as an habit, it is very, very difficult to erase the habit. That is the important aspect which you have to know. Because a bit remains, it remains, you yourself become a habit. So quality is not an act, it is an habit. That is the inner sense of it. So what is the need of a quality in higher education? Because NEP categorically tells there is a rising demand. Because as your director IQAC sir has told, survival for the fittest, So if you want to be a fit, it doesn't mean that you have to be pushti. You have to have a quality output. It should be there. Quality output, when it is there only, you can survive. So that is a rising demand is always there. Increasing mobility, because suppose the product, intermobility of the product, we have to see. If I am studying in one university, if I want to go to the nearby university, because my husband is getting transferred or my wife is getting transferred, or some other reason I want to move to the other place. I did 1 year of coursework here, but doesn't mean that when I go there, how the people will accept me. Because if I have a standard benchmark, I also produce the same quality. It is that. Because there are some parts which are produced in different country and it has got assembled in one country. Make in India or anything assembled in India concept also it is that. So if I have a subsystems, if the subsystems work towards producing increasing mobility, will facilitate if you have a quality adoption. And massification of higher education. At the current trend, it is like an industrial approach we are adopting. Industrial approach is like a mass production. Mass production we are there. If you are born in 1990, you have to graduate in this year. So like the mass production industrial concept, we are working on it, because as a country, we have more sense of digital dividend is there. So with such situation, how best we have to encash it. That is the massification of higher education, because You might have remembered during my course of education time, we had only 10 engineering government colleges, very hardly few private colleges. Highly competition was there. When the number of students, now the engineering is overflowing like anything. In today's Times of India, it's written, even without PG degree, the Anna University is ready to affiliate the research degree because number of seats became vacant. So now it is surplus, demand is less. But massification of higher education should be appropriately structured. Simply, I should not produce a product which is not going to be survive in the market. So I have to need, it is really, we have to identify what is needed in the society. Then internalization of higher education, because I know AVIT as a good network with Malaysian systems and abroad. I have when we came the Vinayaka mission. So your students has to be internationalized, mobility should be there. When I'm doing a twinning programs, the twinning program, the nearby university should accept only if I ensure the quality which has been benchmarked by both the universities. Diversification of provision and providers, because if you are not going to provide, you might have a product, you might have a clientele system, but over a period of time, the clientele system will fade away. You cannot have the immunity of your own birthright or immunity of your own heritage. Remember, BSNL or any government systems, I should not provide its record, but TV, if you observe, they had a highly immunity. No one can question them, no one can do it. But now the question is, the people started asking, we are being provided with so much, what is the quality? So now the diversification of provision and providers are available. So we have to survive. Even among your institutions, several institutions are there. And especially you have to encash the technology into your teaching and learning process, because how best you are going to encash your technology is going to play an important. If you observe the sustainable development goal, 17 goals, the goal number 4 categorically provides the status of quality education. Quality education. And same thing, the goal number 8 provides a good job or decent job for the economic growth. So that is a statement which the sustainable development goals is being provided. So sustainable development goals categorically mentions you have to have a quality education, but the quality education should lead to the decent job. That is very, very important. Decent job. I cannot simply, I can provide education without quality. No one will accept. So our main problem is the quality education plus a decent growth, decent job with the economic growth. That is that. So as an educational institution, I am more challenging in having a quality education with a decent growth. In higher education, if you observe the goal number 4, the indicators 4.3, it should be equal for both women and men, affordable and quality technical education, especially vocational and tertiary education. And it should also promote the sustainable development with the including education, that is global citizenship and cultural diversity. Why our institutions are not performing well? Because the main reason is cultural diversity. We are not working on it, because diversity needs to be there. Diversity needs to be there. If it is of the same birds will flock together, sometimes you may not understand, but if it's of a diversity, if it is there, it will improve the quality that is there. So by 2030, you are also going to work towards our country in achieving the goal number 4 in terms of 4.3 and 4.7 indicators. And need for quality. If you see need for quality is risk embracing. If you are not having the quality, you cannot survive in the market. Your admission will get rid. That is there, because still we can have the admission, but still it should not create a problem. So that is the one problem, risk embracing. Second, as I told you, it is a challenging in education, student safety, well-being, the core in the distance. As I told you, one of the college in Jaipur, and here also we have seen some colleges, the admission really good, because they believe if the kid goes there, they get a good disciplined education with a good content knowledge. That is there. So we have to have a risk. Second, it is also going to be a competition. Competitor is there and competition is there. Now you might have seen the recent budget, the government of India has introduced the concept of glue grant. Glue grant, what they call it is in our terminology, if you would observe, the smaller companies will be acquired by a bigger company so that they become a bigger strength. Instead of surviving in the market, the smaller fish It will be swallowed by the bigger fish. But the government is also promoting the glue grant. Let the smaller institutes all come together so that they can attack the created major wonder by making it. That is a cooperation. So need to cooperate with the competitive environment and keep it close. And third is going to be exponential growth and thinking. The things are very fast in the society because you might have invested. For example, I still remember in the year 2011 and 12, we purchased the clickers. Clickers was with the button like a Kon Benega Korpati for the training programs. We have purchased around 120 clickers they have purchased. But within 1 or 2 years, all the clickers become outdated. No, we are not these days, we are not using clickers. We are using polls in mobile phone. Before pandemic itself, I'm telling, we moved to clickers. We had a clickers, we had a tab to work on it, but everything has changed fast. The technology is changing fast. So one thing we should remember, when you invest time in quality upgrading, suddenly next time when it changes, you should not feel offended. I have invested this much time, what I will do, nothing wrong in it, but we have to keep ourselves amended to meet the needs and demand. And the final, it is nothing but the thinking local, which I have told you in previous scenario also. When we make a quality, I can define the quality not from the, I have to make a quality which meets the needs of the global community, but at the same time, it should take into demand of my local people, because local condition, because when they fix the global standard, they may not be aware of what is my local situation. But I have to work in a condition where my local public also need to be taken into consideration to meet the global demand, and the global things has to be inculcated to the global local. But there is a question of debate always, it exists as in the thinking local. Over a period of time, the indigenous self-destructed, it is happening. For example, if you go to any developed country, if I travel a city X to city Y, I find everywhere the Subway, McDonald's and the KFCs, I find, and all the tacos or Italian Tuscany. Tuscany, it's famous in most of the places, Italian based food. But what happened over a period of time, in the name of a standardization, the individual indigenous things have been destroyed. For example, if I come to Chennai, if I go to Coimbatore, Annapurna is very famous for sambar idli. In Chennai, Ratnakes is famous for sambar idli. Okay, let me put it in the temple. If I go to Palani, when I worship God Muruga, I should also enjoy the prasadam of Panjamurga. But when I go to Tiruvallikeni, I have to enjoy the blessing of Vishnu with the blessing of Puliodara. If I go to Kanchipuram, I should enjoy the Kanchipuram idli. So each unique nature of the system should get distorted. That is the fundamentals of our system. When we talk in terms of a local, I am trying to make you to the local, because your Puliodara will be of international standard. But I am not asking you to go away, get rid of with Puliodara or get rid of with Kanchipuram idli or Panjamurga. But make it as a global standard, which needs for the situation. But in the terms of a local, I don't want you to get rid of my own indigenous thing. I have to meet the demand. So this is the need for quality. In the book Innovative University, Professor Clayton Christen has categorically mentioned, for the changing the DNA of higher education from inside out, it needs the technology. It needs the technology plays an important role. We have in our series of programs, we might have used how technology facilitates in monitoring the students' learning process, how technology facilitates getting rid of the shyness from the students, how the technology facilitates in bringing out the peer-to-peer learning, how technology facilitates in making the students to exchange the knowledge, innovation, everything is possible. So the disruptive technology in the field of education, the disruptive technology in the field of education is massive open online courses. For example, Vinayaka Mission also can start their own MOOC platform, which the best practice from one campus will be shared with the other campus. So you might think when such thing comes, whether the security of the job security of the individual will go, not at all. We are going to add as a facilitator. So that is going to be the important aspect which you should remember, sir. So before starting, I should remember what is a benchmark and benchmarking. Benchmark is some reference point. or measurement used for comparison. Why I need? I never like comparison. I don't want to get compared with others. Okay, I don't want to get compared with others, but I need to see how the global standards have been placed. Because Sustainable Development Goal number 17 or the previous Millennium Goal number 8 categorically mentioned the sharing of knowledge or collaborating together for universal growth. For example, networking plays an important role. To put it in a simpler manner, the school enrollment was very less after the independence, because owing to the poverty, the kids doesn't have a proper the food. The parents were forced to work, and the kids are also forced to go to the job. When they are going to the job, they didn't have enough time to come to the school. So, which made by then the Chief Minister Kamraj sir to decide upon to provide a midday meal concept. When he introduced the midday meal concept, this scheme has been taken up by through provide the food, you also provide the proper dress, proper cycling. You remember, in our state, we started providing laptop. Because laptop is needed. TV is not needed for education, but laptop is needed for the education. But when they have been provided with the laptops, I have seen in one of the north state, which is going to come with the election recently now, they are also provided the laptop. At the time, the government was different. Because the preloaded laptops with several features they wanted, and we were there in the committee, so we were working on it. What are the softwares in the sense, some educational spoken tutorial and FOSSI tools, how to integrate into the laptops. So when someone is having something, the good things could be shared the best practice among the youth, because together only we can grow. Together only, because at this time I will tell one small a story which came in Ramakrishna Vijaya book, Swami Ramakrishna publication. There was a farmer who was there. The farmer in the village, always there will be a competition by the government. The person who produces maximum yield with respect to the based on the land density wise. If he provides in this land, this is the maximum yield. If he provides, who produces the maximum yield will get the prize from the government. That was the announcement which the government made. Every year, the ex-farmer was getting the award. Ex-farmer used to get the award. So this year also X, next year also X, and last year also, previous year also X. He always used to get the award. So what happened after the award ceremony? What he used to do? He used to give the good seeds to the neighboring farmers. To the neighboring farmers, he used to give the good seeds. He used to give the good seeds to the neighboring farmer. When he gives the seeds to the good seeds to the neighboring farmer, and still he always wins the game. And one of his friend, he told, why you are giving a good quality seeds? Just share the little bit inferior quality seed, so that your margin of win will be with your competitors will be more. That was the statement he told. But the farmer told, my dear friend, remember, the crop strength, the crop quality improves by cross pollination. Only if my neighbors are good, only if the neighboring crop is good, this crop quality will improve. This crop quality will be. If your neighboring crops are weaker quality, your crop will not grow properly. You remember? So, if you want, this has been also explained during the COVID time. The COVID has provided us a good statement. We always cared about our neighbors. Our neighbors should not have pandemic. Our neighbors should not have COVID. If he has a COVID, then we also have to suffer. No, in some more it will spread. We are having. So to think about the neighbors, because only when the surrounding is good, you will be good. Only if you are developing quality by yourself, it is not going to create an impact. Let us share the best practice. Let us share the good practice among our people. I'm not telling about the competence. Trade secret is different, but telling the methodology is there, because Sambar is good. Okay, we make that is good. But there might be some features which you might have added. So always only if your surrounding is good, your growth will be there. That is the story in Ramakrishna Vijayam. So the quality improvement also specifies the goal number 17 or the millennium goal number 8. The government of India started practicing the sharing the good knowledge. We gave a laptop, they were giving laptop. We were giving midday meal concepts, they were giving midday meal concepts. We brought out Amma canteen, they brought out Annaya canteen, Indira canteen, lot of canteens came in different parts of the country. Let the good things be spread because we brought 7.5% internal this thing, others also started bringing the 7%. So good things, let it be brought. But the benchmark why we need it, among the good things, even when we share the good thing, where the good stand against which compares to be made. That is that. Benchmarking is a practice which finds a good practice from learning from others. Okay, for example, I have visited a campus where they are doing a wonderful operation for Swachhata. So let them document and let them give it to the neighboring. So it is good because they're adopting a different methodology. Now you have a series of practices. Let this practice be shared with, let others come because you are the creator. By giving to others doesn't mean that you are going to demean your quality. Unless otherwise you yourself think it is enough, your growth, no one can stop your growth. They can steal the honey, but they can never steal the art of making honey because still it lies with the honeybees. So that is the reason. Benchmarking is also means of measuring performance against the comparator institutions. That is very, very important. Okay. How the comparator institutions are there, accordingly, the benchmarking is also plays an important role. That is the important aspect which you should remember, sir. So benchmarking at a university level should identification of the comparators. Comparators, what I mean, I am not going to compare unnecessarily because they might have followed some practice that I want to be. In Salem region, let it be I myself. In Tanjavur, there are some colleges. In terms of quality, in terms of Chennai, there are competitors are there. The students goes to the first because when a shop, when a group of shops lies together, but some people always will go to one particular shop because we strongly believe quality. Because you remember the quality comes from the Japanese; they are the good quality. But when it compared to the US, they define the quality in a different perspective. Identify the comparators, then held position. How much? How you have to feel? Okay, let them. What helps them the position in the market environment? That is very, very important because it is a quality or advertising with the false quality. But don't think that even when they do like that, over a few years, the people are very clever enough to identify this is the goofy work. That is very, very, it is only a Miranda or it is a gas, they will identify very easily. The second aspect exposes strength and weakness because when you benchmark your institute with your neighboring, what is your strength? Where you need to improve, upon it, because everyone will not have the same, because you have to remember how best you can improve upon it. That is the second aspect. So in terms of institutional performance, because there might be some lacuna, so let it be institutional performance, or in terms of data sets, in terms of parameters, in terms of measurements, I will have a chance to measure. It results in preparing my strategic plan. Okay, these are my plus. These are my negative because most of my faculty members are coming too far. Okay, let it far. It is good. But what happened? One of the colleges when I visited, in the bus which brings the faculty members, they have like a flight, they have a tab attached to each seats. I was wondering, even in the normal bus, it was not available in the I-Fi buses. But in that college, they made a seating with a small tab which is connected with the Wi-Fi where the faculty member can have access. You can tell in the mobile phone itself these days can do. But they didn't do in this year. They did in the year 2017. When I went in 2017, for some purpose, I was amazed because that bus in the bus for the faculty members, because their location is very hard, but which they want to improve the performance. So they were making a faculty members because laptops and their own tabs. I cannot ask everyone to bring their own tabs, laptops, but I myself will provide it. Let them work on, let them monitor the quiz or something. Strategic wise, they made it, and students also they made it. So which, if you know my strength and weakness, which results or augment me to prepare my strategic planning. So if I prepare my strategic planning, which always lead to me improvement will be there. So I am ready to prove myself, that is improve. So if I want to improve, you are going to prove you are meeting the expectation of others. That is improve, you have to remember. And contextualization of institutional performance, because when I identify the strength and weakness, I am contextualizing. Okay, this is what my institutional performance, what sort of fit do you want to be? Okay, because if your institution is only famous for making a pizza, let it be only for pizza specialized. But unfortunately, by comparing myself with the institution which provides a vattakuழம்பு or any vegetarian food, I cannot, because my goal, my vision is going to be different. So I need to contextualize, because I am comparing with different parameters, certain parameters which may not be applicable or suiting, because simply for comparison purpose, I cannot take it. Because I always tell in the when you're measuring the quality of a faculty members, don't measure your quality of faculty members with respect to IITs or any other foreign universities, because they have the funding is not limited. They have a good amount of funding. Then they have a concept of TAs. They are going to help their correction. They are going to help them. In our case, we are like a household where I am cooking myself. I am washing the utensils myself. But they are working in a place where they are cooking the food, but washing the utensils they have servant made. There are some institutions where cooking and washing are also separate people. They are only eating the food. When I compare myself with such people, unnecessarily it is only going to make them indisciplinary action in the society, because which resulted in have a lot of publication. No parameters, because this document we have even discussed with several meetings. The parametric measurement, it's not focusing on because of your teaching, how you created an impact among the students. How many students have gone to the PG level of your own subjects, what you handled. If you are handling some basic fundamental subjects, if the students are going towards their masters or going towards a job in the such area, then the teacher has created an impact. That measurement you are not doing. For teaching, you are not evaluated when it comes to promotion. You are getting evaluated for the paper published or the projects what you good. Okay, papers are good, projects are good if it is related to my teaching, related to my content. I have started observing one of the mechanical department professor when I was going for some purpose, not mechanical, civil department, that one of the author was always mechanical. It has happened in one of the institutions in Chennai when I went for a visit. So I was wondering why this guy, X guy, is there in most of the publication civil department. What is the meaning of it means? Finally, I came to know that one of the professor's husband is there, that guy. He is working in a mechanical department of the same institution. Since the publication becomes a mandatory, the institution is not thinking whether what sort of paper he is publishing, what is the quality of paper he is publishing. Whatever the paper he publishes, he puts his wife's name. Whatever she publishes, he puts his her husband name as a fourth author or third author. Is it going to a right culture? So you have to adopt what way it's going to facilitate you and what way it is going to compare. So identifying of the comparators, expose of strength and weakness, and contextualize institutional performance. So improvement should focus on 5 aspects: empowering the faculty members, enriching the student learning experience, encouraging the administrators and policymakers, enhance the infrastructure facilities, enabling the networking with industries and society. Nowadays, infrastructure, what we call it as a learning spaces. Learning spaces is very, very important, because the learning spaces, unfortunately or fortunately, AICT gives a uniform learning spaces for everyone. That is not at all true. For example, architecture, we have a studio-based assessment. Luckily, they are not coming under AICT evaluation. If they would also come under AICT evaluation, then they would have screwed up. So you have to remember, there are certain departments where abstract concepts concretizing takes a different. For example, electrical, EC, or computer science people. The concepts are too abstract. How they concretize is entirely different. So their classroom setups, their learning spaces entirely it's going to be different. Whereas the students like mechanical, civil engineering, production, or agriculture, their pattern of concretizing the subject, it's entirely it's going to be different. I have been to show the lathe machine. I have to show the machines how it works, the parts how it works, how the 2-stroke engine, 4-stroke engine, how the brick is there, how the concrete behaves, how the aggregate behaves, how it flows. So my way of concretizing the content, it entirely depends upon the domain which I am studying. So that is happened. So the infrastructure these days, we call it as a concept known as a learning spaces. Learning spaces. So if you want to improve the quality, 5 aspects: empower the faculty, enrich the students, encourage the administrators and policymakers, enhance the infrastructure facilities, and enable the network with industries and society. So that is it. So empowering the faculty members. The quality faculty members can only enhance the institution recognition, which you can import. Because we did one study with one of the very famous institute of national importance. There was a candidate in one of the very famous discipline. He was doing a BTech for more than 6 years. 7th year only he completed, more than 5-6 years. But what is the reason? Because that institute admits the students based on very rigorous testing, very rigorous input. And personally, I had a chance to interact with him for 6 months in the year 2011. 10-11, I was interacting with the students. Now he is in Bangalore. He has a good startup. The company is going very fantastically good. I will tell you the story. It really happened as a part of a white paper we did this one. So the people who have taken more than 4 years, 5 years, we have taken a study sample to observe what it has made them to do. It is from my nearby campus. So we had several interviews, and it's a qualitative research. It's not a quantitative research. It is a qualitative research. That guy is very good, extremely good in terms of it. I talk about any serials of international levels, any movies of international levels. He is very good. But when it comes to subjects, he critically good in mathematics, good in solving analytical. But somehow it focus of 3 hours was not there in the examination. It was there. So later on, because sometimes the good students are also getting dampened because of the poor faculty members, because of the educators breakout might result in the breakout of the system. That is very, very important. They are the tire of any vehicle. If the wear and tear is there, if they have been breakdown is there, the entire machine will go, because the machines and the engines are administrators, the educational institutions, policymakers. For any educational institution to drive smoothly, the wheels are important. The teachers are like a wheel. Their wear and tear should be taken care by the administrators. They should not get punctured. They should not get derailed. So the quality faculty members can only enhance. So what is empowering? So for example, now Government of India has brought a lot of schemes, especially iSTEM. You might have all heard about iSTEM scheme, very popular scheme of Government of India. It is exclusive targeting Tier 2 and Tier 3 institutions. I may not have access to a research facility, but if you register yourself in iSTEM, you will be provided with access to wonderful facility in the nearby institution, or where the facility is that government is going to give funding. It is one of the first unique model in our country, but internationally it is available, which we call it as a reverse funding. Reverse funding. First you will spend, later on the government will reimburse the money to you. So one of the unique concepts which so if empowering the faculty members is needed, because NEP clearly talks about to motivate, energize, and prepare faculty members. To motivate, energize, and prepare faculty members is the need of the hour. And then comes what we know. The teacher quality is more important, all we know, but which in turn are going to affect the student achievement and success. Of course, you might have to accept it. In any system, 10% of the system is going to be laggard. They will not follow your instruction. The students will be 10%. The 10% will be exceptional category. They will not depend on you. By default, they have their own goals and achievement, and they will be working towards it. But 80% of the students that progress depends upon how you are going to maneuver. That is going to be the very, very important. How the teachers are going to take them, that is going to affect. That was a theory which is existing, but maybe the digital era, the theory need to be looked into also, maybe. So the teaching quality is much important in education institution, which affects the student achievement and the success, which we all know. Then comes the quality of teacher preparation has a greater impact. So as in city, when they are doing quality assurance, I have seen one such initiative is webinar series. upskilling them, the improved teacher preparation. Improved teacher preparation, first involvement with the professor scientists during the personal, because INA is giving a faculty fellowship. You remember, if you're having 35 years less than, you can go. And if SERB is giving early faculty this thing, 42 years, if you're less, you can go for a funding. Now, most of the SERB award last, the SERB funding announcement came, that all the deadline is 1 month duration still exists. You can work on it. And a world-class working environment to attract the competent faculty members, because you need to bring out a system where you can attract some global teachers to come. It is not only from the education point of view, from a different point of view. I have observed one of the very faculty members, he came to Chennai to work because he likes to serve in the country, plus he wants to learn some Carnatic and also from yoga and everything. So dual way, because he also served in this Indo-Canadian project we had. So the Canada professor was there for 4 years, but what happened, that Canada professor, I didn't meet it, but in our institute was there. Now their family members are coming. His kid, his daughter and grandchild are coming and spending some time in some of the places in Chennai, some religious space of Sanatana Dharma. They are coming and spending their own time. The reason is his father or grandfather got enlightenment because of that system. I was wondering, because you remember, sometimes chasing your dreams also, because you have to attract the good faculty members and the mentorship program. And in the education institution to grow, sometimes in the academic environment, we have a work ethics of toxicity exists a lot. Toxicity exists a lot because we don't want others to grow. But you have to remember, as I told you, the farmer analogy, everyone should go to mentorship program, hand-holding of the young teachers. Government of India in the national education policy categorically mentioned the importance of national mentoring scheme, and also in NINTT there is a concept of mentoring that young teachers has to be mentored for 6 months in one theory in one laboratory, hand-holding the mentees by the mentors. It is going to create an impact, and there need to be extra strong research, consultancy, and continuing education culture, because the teacher should have the lifelong learning, and the upskilling should be on a flexible mode. Because we have seen in some institution, everyone were forced to listen to the same lecture. That should not be. The upskilling should be on unique, and it should be like a buffet approach. Buffet approach, there are variety of food is available. I need to be permitted to pick and choose. I need this one and that one. So everyone should not be forced only with vegetarian thali. Let me take, if I want Bisabelabad, let me take Bisabelabad. Let me take Chitranam if I want a lemon rice or curd rice, Bagalabad, Wangibad, or Puliodara, whatever I want. Let me have a choose and pick as per my choice. That is that. So cafeteria approach in upskilling the teacher faculty member. That is the first. Second, enriching the student learning experience, because one of the best time that the student is going to have is based on the learning experience. And if the student learning experience is not good, it is not going to create impact. As a toxicity of the teachers should not, and wear and tear of the teachers, breakdown of educators should not impact on the teachers, should not dampen the students. That is very, very important. So synchronized and asynchronized mode of teaching and learning really facilitates the current generation of students, and where you have to provide access to the scientific, because the students are always getting excited when they meet a global mind. So connectivity, extramural lectures where you are going to connect with international. That too, the pandemic has given a more scope for us to interact with the foreign professors, because you might have seen one of the interview in Steve Jobs would have told you he was very much excited to have a microelectronic product. He immediately asked help from the person to the very big company, but the people told he will not help. But to his surprise, he helped. I will tell you, when I was during my MTech, I have written a letter to Sudhir Jain and CVR Murthy regarding the civil engineering documentaries which they prepared. I was watching the documentary in one of the seminar, and I've just simply written an email to Professor Sudhir Jain. Now he was in IIT Ahmedabad. Now he has gone to BHU, and Professor CVR Murthy is in IIT Madras. You remember, to my surprise, within 3 months, they have sent a mail, CD mailer. At the time, CD mailer used to come. CVR Murthy sir has sent a CD mailer about with the documentaries which I asked for. You remember, the people are there. One of my good friend in Coimbatore, he was working on air pollution on some samples. He was discussing with me. I went for a sensitization workshop. I told him, you write to a professors who are the no one is replying. I told him, no one will reply. but there will be someone who will be replying. No, identify to the mail until your mail reaches to the person who will reply. You wait. What happened? He has sent and the foreign professor accepted. He has sent the air filter samples and which has been sent to him for testing to Korea and one more country. Now he has done a joint publication with that professor. He was very much excited. You remember, only fear factor we have is whether that guy will help or not. But we should be having bold enough to ask for help. If he helps, because let us throw the stone. If we'll get a mango. Otherwise, what is the big deal? Only throw stone is going to come. No, not a big issue. We will take 1 second. We'll eat the stone. So I have applied 13 times the Commonwealth Fellowship. I got failed, but I got a fellowship from France to go to US, and Switzerland. I got a fellowship. The reason is it is not how many times you are trying, how you are going to apply. So that is that. So let the students be provided with the opportunity to interact with the foreign professors, which is establishing digital and technology enabled education system, academic bank of credit where flexibility of the learning is acknowledged, and preparation of open courseware. The teacher should have the concept of open courseware where the concept of OER should be working, and encouraging administrators and policy makers where they should be, because since Vinayaka Mission is a university system, you have more freedom in offering a dual degree between the curriculum and schools, and where you can encourage a specialized certification course with the world-class universities and multidisciplinary education research universities, and also the creation of world-class working environment to attack competition. I went to Pune. I went to one of the very famous deemed university, very famous deemed university to conduct 1 week program. I went. So what happened there? That university trains the HODs with one of the very famous international college, by paying some good amount of money. But they have not been provided a degree. They have to work for more than 6 to 8 months. They have to work. It is equivalent to a PG diploma program. Very famous deemed university, very famous deemed university. I'm telling you, very famous university. Everyone knows that university, very famous. It is mutually beneficial. That is the meaning of that university name. So what happened? I was asking that principal, why you are making the faculty members to get trained in such an eminent institute, but why you are not giving them a certificate? He told, if you've been provided with a certificate, after getting a certificate, they are using it as a degree and they are going to one more other university for a small amount of money. Like that they told. That is the reason they have been trained, but they have not been provided. Because ultimately I need to have a trained manpower. I know these people are trained. I am only the person who is going to acknowledge their certification. I know, but why I need a certificate for them? Why I need to provide a certificate? These are the system exists in the situation I'm making to. When you're empowering a faculty members, you can adopt a different models. Multidisciplinary education, because these days multidisciplinary education plays an important role. Now in Government of India, in Academic Council, we are bringing out one, and Kerala also, an undergraduate syllabus education, because this is done in University of Illinois. A student from a mechanical background will work with an environmental background student together for the undergraduate thesis with the 2 different right to solve a problem. You have to work on it, because now 2 different branches. Now the final year project means not or 4 civil together, 4 electrical together, 4 computer together. Mismatch the students so that they will work on it and they will create a content. And creation of world-class working environment to attract the competitive faculty members. Infrastructure, incubation center, science and technological park to strengthen the student interaction with the industry. Enhance IRG and avoid negative financial balance and accelerate infrastructure development. Networking with industries and society, because industries try to innovate, teach you to innovate, and they will help you innovation in teaching. They will help you in innovation in teaching. So networking of knowledge is very important. Knowledge network plays an important role. Globally connected for research and credit transfer really facilitates into the quality of teachers in terms of alumni efforts, in terms of international relationship, in terms of counseling and training and placement and outreach activity for solving the social technical issues around your university. First, adapt nearby places, because I have been to a university in Tanjavur. When Government of India brought the scheme Swachhata, the toilet scheme, by giving 12,000 rupees to make a toilet, they very wonderfully their university adopted. They have taken a bulk grant from the ministry, and they prefabricated some structures which is very cost effective, and the in and around the villages of the university have been provided with a wonderful cost-effective toilet system, which was indigenously designed and validated by the university with the experts, and the university also improved and the system got improved. So this was a system where the university plays an important role. So quality is improved. So outreach activity for socio-technical issues, solving the socio-technical issues around the universities. So create a quality roadmap. So this was, as I told, 5 segment, split yourself segmentation principle and prepare a quality roadmap. This quality roadmap will help building a culture of continuous internal improvement. Keep calm and establish a quality culture. So thank you very much for providing an opportunity. I appreciate the group for the patient listening. And if you have any questions, you can ask, because the talk was generic and introducing a various aspects and situations which was existing in the. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much, and thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your wonderful session as usual. I request the participants, if there is any queries, they can post in the questionnaire session. If there is any questions, please post in the question and answer session.
So you give them assignment, ask them to prepare a roadmap for the quality roadmap in 5 major sectors and get validated and get rolled out in terms of students, in terms of teachers, in terms of facilities, in terms of socio-technical problems, how you are solving. And one of the institute in Karnool, I went there. They are very famous for one of the very Puttarappu and sweet was also they gave to me. First time I tasted it too. It was like a very, like a wafer. It was very good, different. Then I went to Mantralayam also. So their kids, their students solved the problem which existed in the sweet shop of that this thing. Either any socio-technical issues which exist here, provide a solution so that it helps the people to act in a very good manner. Thank you very much. If you do, I hope a lot of them were. Thank you, sir, for detailed explanation. Thank you.
Sir, one of the participants has asked, sir,
Consultancy in
consultancy medical field.
Medical. Now, why idea in medical field? Everyone is coming for medical only. Now, COVID became all the medical products have increased. But to be frank, from the medical domain, exactly, I don't know what exactly you're asking. Consultancy, ask your institution to have some seed money, because generally, if you see MBA accreditation also, it's 8.1 section, where the seed money concept should inculcate to have some sort of base work you do it, then using that work, you can ask for a consultancy. In a medical, this thing, what sort of consultancy you are expecting, I'm not clear, because the question is medical field, because I'm not from the medical fraternity, but in my perspective, the consultancy is basically for solving someone's issue, so that you can take it. For example, I came to Erode for a Bagasi, that is a tapioca industry, one of the very famous tapioca industry. So we solved the problem. They had a problem. They approached us. We solved that problem, and it results. So what sort of, or you do some need analysis or some analysis. What sort of problem exists in the medical field, then you can come up with a solution. Because nowadays, one of the big problem in the medical field is self-medication is a big problem. Your IT wing and medical university should join together and to tell the effect of self-medication issues. I still remember there are people who did a self-medication and landed in a very big chronic problem and even a lethal effect they are facing. So these are the effects of self-medication comes. So this self-medication out your and you promote, and then later on you think about how to take it further. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The flow was as usual. It was started with the benchmarking and other real-time examples with all your experiences all over the travel in India and abroad. It was a wonderful session, sir. Thanks a lot for your session. We have covered all the quality aspects, starting from the students, teachers, the management, the infrastructure, everything, sir. Thanks a lot for your wonderful sparing your expertise and time, sir. Thank you. So it's now time for the formal vote of thanks. Let me start thanking the Almighty for the wonderful opportunity for He has given to all of us with all the support we required. It's my pleasure in thanking our management, the magnanimous management for providing all the resources, infrastructure. Special thanks to the mentionable thanks to our director IQAC, who has initiated this kind of a webinar series and conducting it every alternate weeks and guiding us in all the way. Thank you, sir. As special thanks to our Director Research, Deputy Director Academics, who has joined in this session. Thanks a lot, sirs. I thank our own beloved principal, Dr. G. Selvakumar, who has been the constant source of inspiration and guidance in all the aspects of IQAC. Thank you, sir. We also thank the vice principals of Harvard Institute of Technology and other HOIs of all the member institutions of Vinayaga Missions Research Foundation, the IKC coordinators of our VMRFDU for their wonderful support in organizing this webinar. I thank all the participants for their wonderful participation and the patient listening. Thanks a lot for your participation, sir. The feedback link is posted in the chat box. Kindly request you all to fill the feedback link so that you can get your participation certificate. Thank you, sirs. Thanks for joining this wonderful session. Let us meet in another webinar series, the quality webinar series, the 5th quality webinar series in the next fortnight. Thank you. Thank you, sir. The link will be open for next 15 minutes. The link will be closed by 12:05 p.m. So I request all the participants to fill the feedback form at the earliest. Thank you.